We have James Donnelly here. He is an avid golfer, probably plays relatively maybe once every week, an average of probably 3 to 4 times a month. Does find good times to practice, probably about once a week as well. As a result, he's about an 11 handicap. Has goals to get somewhere under that, closer to 8 or 9 this year, and then try to be a long-term breaking 80 golfer, somewhere in that 5 to 6 handicap range. Typically, he's very good under pressure, more tournament conditions, and cites kind of to his line of work that he does. However, he does suffer a little bit during kind of relaxed rounds, and just like anybody else, he does sometimes falter a little bit. But his main struggles are with his longer clubs, specifically long irons, woods, and drivers, and also short game versatility. He really only has one kind of shot, which is kind of a steep one-hop stop. And a big reason for that is his current motion, which we're going to take a look at here and see if we can improve that a little bit. So just watch his swing kind of at normal speed. You can see it's a pretty sound motion, very effective motion. Just comes in a little high, comes in a little steep. And that steep motion actually is a very good position for someone who is a good iron player, which is what he is. However, it does create a lot of issues with the longer clubs. So we're going to strive to try to shallow that club out a little bit and get him in a more position of consistency and power. To start with, posture is very good. No real issues there in the posture. The issue really is in the initial takeaway motion, where you can see right here, the position here actually isn't too bad. As you can see, club face, arm position, fairly close to parallel. However, we actually want that club head to be a little more inside than it is right now, which would typically raise some questions. But for someone who is steep, we're going to want to feel that club's moving a little bit more that way. And as a result, that's going to create a little more hip rotation, a little more body turn. Because as we go to the top here, there's no rotation of the lower body. It's more of a slide. Okay, so if you kind of watch, it's hard to see from back here necessarily, but you can watch that motion is more sliding into that right leg rather than pivoting. And as a result, we lose depth in our arms. Club is extremely close to the body, whereas we'd like that club head to feel like it's more up in this area where that yellow dot is. So trying to create a little more rotation, see that club get a little more behind us, a little flatter. It's related to a tour professional. You're looking at either a Tony Finau or somebody kind of like Matt Kuchar, where that club is a little bit higher, more behind you, and feels flatter laid off. But as a result of his current position, if we keep going down here now on this position, you can see we get very close to that top line, getting steep. The club does pass the hands just fine. So again, not terrible, but it's about as steep as you really would ever ask for as far as a position. So when that happens with his full woods and driver, you can see that's where the suffering is. The impact is pretty solid. You can see nice clean release right there. The hands aren't escaping too early, so good full rotation through impact here. But he does suffer for some balance issues. He's able to hold it on this particular one, but that's also a shorter club, so once he gets to those longer clubs, being able to hold his finish is something he struggles with, and that's because as he's coming in steep right here, you can see that left shoulder really starts to move down just a little instantly, and all of his weight here is moving towards his toes. And because all of his weight is moving towards his toes, it then has to move back to his heel very quickly, and that leads to some balance issues. So by feeling a little more rotation here, feeling that club head work more this way, in tune with this green line, so trying to work it more completely around his body. As a result, the weight's going to be more on the balls of his feet. The club should get more up in this position. The pass should work more this way, and that will create a lot more of a shallower downswing, which will improve his impact, improve his consistency more long term. It's a weird change. It feels a little uncomfortable, but I know Mr. Donnelly is more than capable of doing it.